how are you going to stand out and how are you going to appeal to an audience? I think number one, you need to be able to tell a story in such a way that it resonates with people.
Personality.
And then you also need to have like stage presence and like,
Yes,
stand up on
yeah,
stage and be
yeah.
able to, tell that story. And, that you can get that over the years by building it up. But, some people will say there's a star quality that you have to have as well. And I mean, some of that is true too. I mean, if it all aligns and you can get all of it together, then if you're really good at telling a story and singing that and appealing to people, then the music will just speak for itself.
Welcome back to my podcast. I'm Tanya Corless, and today we're going to talk about inspiration. Let me to introduce beautiful woman, a singer, Pamela Tully. Hi, Pamela.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. I'm so delighted. I'm looking forward to have a chat.
Me too.
So, you are a singer and a songwriter.
I am.
So, how come it's happened? You probably was doing something else.
It's a long story, and it goes back to way back when. So I've kind of been singing my entire life. My parents, I probably would say, then I've came out singing, but I've been in like stage schools and everything when I was much younger. And around my early 20s, I started in a covers band. Okay. And the band was called Night Shift, and I was in it for well over 10 years. And music is in the family. So my uncle was the guitar player, my cousin was the bass player. So music is kind of on one side of my family. So I got involved with that, and I started doing like weddings and loads of different gigs up and down the country, and did that for a very long time, alongside jobs and everything as well, and like, building my career as I was doing that. But I was always kind of dipping my toe into original music, but I never did it. So I always like every couple of years I'd say, I have a couple of ideas and I might do this and I might do that. And then another year would go by and I wouldn't do it. So I was always writing things down, but I never really had the confidence to go
pull together. And
let's do it and actually put it together until, I had a very...
What happened?
Yeah, I had a very significant life event, I would say, in 2020. So if I rewind, back to that time, I, like everybody across the country, across the world, COVID had hit.
Yes.
At that particular time, I had just gone back to work, having been on maternity leave with my daughter, who is now 5. But we'd gone back to work, and very quickly everybody was sent home because of COVID. So myself and my husband were at home, and we were juggling everything. We were trying to work, trying to manage her, childcare, etc., etc. And in the midst of all that, I was getting headaches, and I took myself off to my GP, not in a million years thinking that I would get the diagnosis that I got. So at that time, they said to me, look, we'll just send you for an MRI. Had an MRI, and on the MRI, it showed up that I had a brain tumour.
It was significant headache? Or it was something more than just a headache?
No, actually it wasn't. This is the thing. This is why it was such a shock, because I was having headaches, but nothing out of the ordinary. Like, take a headache tablet and you were fine and everything was okay. And like the way you see me right now and the way you're listening to me right now, to your listeners, is exactly the way I was back then. So it was a complete and utter shock. I was not symptomatic, if that makes sense. So it showed up on the MRI, and basically very quickly I was taken into my now surgeon, Mr. Stephen McNally, in Beaumont Hospital. Wow. So, yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind, I would say. What typically happens is, if you're not symptomatic, they do something called watch and wait.
Yes.
So for me, it was, we're going to scan you again. We're going to see how the tumour behaves. We're going to see what it does, and then we'll make some decisions. Okay. But when you're told that, straight away, you think brain tumour equals cancer, which isn't necessarily the case.
Absolutely, yeah.
And also you think, well, what does this mean? Do I have to have surgery? Do I have to have some sort of treatment? You just don't know. So
your life has changed.
Absolutely. Like within a heartbeat, because it happened. I got the phone call. I didn't know what to do. So if I kind of fast forward a couple of months' time, by August I had another scan, and my surgeon at the time thought that it had slightly grown. Again, I went away, didn't want to make any decisions, had lots of options on the table. We could take it out now, or we could just leave you. But I was petrified because the area of where the tumour was in my brain was in an area called near the bronchus, which is where your speech is, basically.
Okay. Did you have any problems after?
No, thankfully I didn't. But that was one of the risks that we take it out. You may need to have speech therapy. We don't know how you're going to be afterwards. So like the list is endless of all the different risks when it comes to brain surgery. So for me, I didn't want to do it. I was like, no, I'm fine. Let's just do nothing. Skip forward to November and it had doubled in size. So the decision was taken out of my hands. I had to have surgery. So
end of story.
Had the surgery, very successful surgery for me, thank God. It was completely removed. What happens is they take it out, it gets sent to pathology, and pathology will then tell you what type of grade that the tumour is. For me, it was a grade 2, which means non-cancerous. However, I have a higher percentage recurrence rate. So for me, in the next 10 years, I'm in the system now because I could have a recurrence. Another one could grow.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, what I will say is, yes, fantastic surgery. Everything was taken away. Very, very long recovery.
How long?
So I would say well over a year and a half before I felt back to normal. So I had lots of seizures after the surgery, which is one of the risks, and it's a very kind of typical risk. Couldn't drive for a year. Took a long time for the seizures to get under control because the medication.
I understand that, of course. Yes.
So it took about a month for me to get the medication under control. Then, which is what they don't tell you, a lot of people will say that when they've had brain surgery, they have this thing, fatigue, that takes over. So the fatigue can last for months and months and months. And for me, it really did. So it's not a tiredness, like you're tired, I go to bed, I get up, I feel refreshed. That's not the way it works. The fatigue is literally like it hits you like a ton of bricks. So you could be doing your normal, like making a dinner or about to get into the car, do some shopping, and you literally have to stop because your body is just like, I'm done. I've had enough. I need to lie down. So initially, the first couple of months, I was like having to go to bed every couple of hours. So 3-4 times a day, I had to go to bed, like kind of refresh again, get up again, recharge my body. So yeah, it took a long time. But look, thankfully, where I am now is a million miles away from where I was back then.
Well done. So you're a survivor, basically, okay? So, and if this woman can inspire you, then I don't know who's going to inspire you then. So since after you start singing more, you start writing more, what happened?
So when I was recovering, I remember it so clearly. Like I had a lot of things that I had written down that I was like, I think they're songs. I hope they're songs, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
So I reached out to a producer who I'd heard about from like friends of friends. They had worked with him before. His name is Stuart Gray in Jealoustown Studios. So I reached out to him and I remember it so clearly. I was sitting on my bed and I was like only a couple of months after the surgery and I was like, you know, I'm just going to ring him. And I made the phone call and I said, I explained who I was, explained what had happened. I was very much still in recovery mode. And I rang him and I just said, look, I really want to make this happen. I really want to record my own songs. I don't know how to do it. Can you please help me? Can I come in? I don't even know if I have songs, but I'd love to just try. So that then started a relationship that I still have now, an actual friendship with myself and Stuart that super. I'm now going on to I've just released my 5th single, but it started in 2021 when I first walked through the doors of his studio and I said, I have songs here, please help me. Genuinely thought that he was going to say, off you go, come back to me, go and get some songwriting, songwriting ability or, you know, go off and learn how to songwrite. But that didn't happen, thankfully. And we made a song and we did it within a couple of days. And that was like the first single that I released all independently. The song is called Battle Cry Baby. I released it in 2022, but like very much a learning curve and very much me just doing it on my own and figuring out as I went along.
What about the song Still Be There?
Yes, that's the most recent song.
Yes.
And actually, in actual fact, when I think about that song, I think it's probably one of the ones I'm most proud of because I feel like as a songwriter, I've come along and I've learned a lot since I've started. So that one in particular, it's literally a song about regret in love. And it, like how I write songs is I could be lying in bed, like the ideas come into my head like all the time. So a lot of the time I could be lying in bed about to go to sleep and I'll take out my phone and like a lyric or a melody will come into my head and I have to write it down or else it's gone.
Of course, yeah.
And it could be like, I could be sitting in work and something will come into my head. I'm in a meeting and I'll like jot it down really quickly so I don't miss it. But that particular song, I wrote a couple of the lyrics and then I like expanded it and said like, to me, it's about regretting, you know, it could be the love of a partner, the love of a friendship, but you know, somebody that is in your life that you've made a mistake and you want to go back and say, I'm sorry, will you still be there for me? If I ring you up, I've done something wrong, please still be in my life.
Would you say it's that particular song, maybe not only that one, if start coming up in your head, whatever, because after this is kind of a disease?
I think more, the song that's more about my recovery journey is Just Like You. Okay. So that's my second single. And that was before I did Still Be There. But I wrote those lyrics when I was actually in Beaumont. I remember sitting, waiting to go into my consultant. And one of the lines is, when I get up off this floor, I'm going to run, I'm going to soar. And in my head, because I wrote it when I was sitting literally in Beaumont, ready to go in. And I remember writing it saying, I felt like I am, honestly, I feel like I'm on the floor right now, like mentally, physically. And I was like, when I get over this, I am going to make music. And that lyric came out from there. So that particular song is more about my recovery. So that's more for anybody that's like really feeling it. It could be, you know, an illness or something going on in your life and you're down in the dumps and you feel like there's no getting back up again.
Bravo.
Yeah,
honestly,
thank
bravo.
you.
Who inspired you most if talk about the singers? Who?
Sure. So I love very outspoken, independent women, female singers that are like, yes, I am like literally, I am Pink, Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, Kelly Clarkson, Becky Hill. Those are the type of singers that like, I think, number one, amazing songwriters, amazing singers, amazing like stage presence and just all around. For me, like Pink in particular is the type of woman that I would love to have a coffee with and sit down and just be like, tell me about your life. Because she's just so inspirational to me.
Oh my God.
So if I can, at some stage, if I can put myself into their bracket, that would be incredible. I'm not ever claiming that I'm as good as them, but those are the people that like I'd strive to be like.
When you made a decision that you would like to be a singer, and it's going to be a profession, first of life, after diagnosis, or you was trying to take a time and okay, now it's a time. This was after the diagnosis happened,
I think I think I was like for years and years and years when I was younger, it was always a passion and it was always a dream. I would have done the likes of X Factor, pop stars, like, you know, auditioned for all these things.
You was thinking about it like a profession for the future, or you would just, okay, it's my hobby, it's my passion, but I can do something else maybe, but I love that really much. Or I think now, more so now that I'm older, that happened to me. I have more life experience now. Like that will always be the goal. It was always the dream. I don't think I really gave myself a shot at it when I was younger. Okay.
Enough.
Just
I think
to believe in that.
I'm doing more of it now.
Okay. And how you'll promote yourself?
So a lot
how
of
you're doing at the moment?
Yeah,
mostly.
At the moment, like a lot of it is, it's all self-promotion. Like, and it's me knocking on doors and not taking no for an answer, if I'm honest. I think like I've had some success in the music, as in radio airplay, you know, added to different playlists in like national radio and stuff like that. But that has been me banging on doors. And I think you need to be realistic about it. If you're going to go down this road, it is a slog. There is a graft behind it. And I am putting that in. Nobody sees that when they go onto like your social media.
Yes, yeah.
They don't see the background. They don't see you sitting at your computer, you know, doing press releases like for hours and hours on end. They don't see that.
It's a misconception about that.
Absolutely. It's a graft. Yeah, it's an absolute graft and you have to do that. So everything I'm doing is self-promotion. Have, you know, used every contact that I possibly have to get anything out there. And I'm just going to continue to do that.
But Inge, you talk about your career, okay? You a singer and it's full-time at the moment, or not?
No, Not yet. Not yet. I have a full-time job, so that obviously helps me to do all of the other things that I want to do. Look, you have to be realistic about it at the end of the day. I mean, there are I know a lot of musicians that are full-time musicians, and they will tell you themselves that it's very hard to make that your full-time job because you are essentially working for yourself. You are looking for gigs. You are looking to get on to rosters, to get gigs, etc. Yeah. I did it for a while. I did find it quite hard. I do have other interests that have allowed me to build a career in other ways. But now at this stage in my life, a little bit older, you know, have a family, have a husband, have a child. Have responsibilities, have to pay the bills. So my passion is music. That'll never go away. If it shifts in the next couple of years, maybe, we don't know. But to answer your question, not at the moment, but I'm doing more and more in the music and I plan to continue that.
Well done. It's impressive. You've talked about equality, life quality, song quality, scenic quality. Who, from your point of view, will be have more, not even who, how will recognize a singer or what skills you can describe as could be, for example, it needs more than just doing that and be a good, what a quality for you if to be a singer?
I think you need to be a really good storyteller. You need to be able to articulate feelings and emotions that are universal because there's so much music that is available nowadays. Yeah. So in one way, it's so much easier for somebody to release music because you can do it independently and that's amazing and it's a positive thing. But the negative side to it is that because there's so much availability and because there's so much accessibility for new singer-songwriters, the industry is awash with music.
That's just true as well,
it's absolutely awash with music. So how are you going to stand out and how are you going to appeal to an audience? I think number one, you need to be able to tell a story in such a way that it resonates with people. I think you have to have a story. So you need to be able to put your own self inside the lyrics and be like, how can I tell this story? And then you also need to have like stage presence and like, you know, stand up on stage and be able to, you know, tell that story. And, you know, that you can get that over the years by building it up. But, you know, some people will say there's a star quality that you have to have as well. And I mean, some of that is true too. I mean, if it all aligns and you can get all of it together, then if you're really good at telling a story and singing that and appealing to people, then the music will just speak for itself.
If you will give advice to people who decide, youngish maybe, I would love to be a singer or have so many songs I already wrote and what the first step they should do or what you can advise anyway.
I would say go for it, first of all. Number one, give it a go. I would say if you're not songwriting, you need to start. Go and get into, like, there's so many songwriting circles around Dublin, in particular, around Ireland that you can get involved with. Get your name out there, start networking with people. Figure out who the people in the industry are that you want to start trying to network with. So there's loads of advice from the likes of Hot Press, all these different like magazines, like really well-known establishments in Ireland in particular. Songwriting is definitely something that will stand to you. I'm sorry I didn't do it earlier, because if I had started kind of like honing that craft, I probably would have been further along. But look, it is what it is. I'm glad I'm doing it now. But if they're only starting out, and get as much exposure as you can. Go and figure out, who do you listen to? Who do you want to aspire to be like? What is the music that you want to give out into the world? But do it collectively with other songwriters. Get in with musicians. Go start doing like, you know, pub gigs if you can, where there's loads of open mic gigs. Start learning your craft and do as much of it as you possibly can.
That's brilliant as well, what you said. But at the same time, sometimes people may be still struggling, and you can see people sing on the Grafton Street. What do you think about that?
When they're busking? I want to busk. It's
hard to get in?
No, it's not that hard, but it's on my bucket list. That's going to, at some stage next year, I'm going to busk. But no, I think, like, to me, like, you build your craft that way. And I think that makes people resilient. And like, the one thing I will say, going back to your point there, like, working in the music industry is very tough. And it can be very mentally draining on people because you might be expecting the big break and you don't get it. And it might take you 10 years to get it. Like some of the stuff I was reading, Chapel Roan, who's only kind of jumped onto our screens now, has been working on it for like 10 years. Sabrina Carpenter, 10 years as well. So this is what I was saying earlier on about the grafting behind.
Yes, okay.
People don't see the graft, and there is that, and there's all the slog behind it. But there are a lot of companies, like Minding Creative Minds is a really good one, that offer mental support for people that are working in the music industry. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can avail of because they've recognised, and some stuff by the Arts Council of Ireland as well, they've recognised that this is a sector that, especially in COVID, were completely annihilated at stages because the gigging scene was nearly wiped out because of COVID, because of restrictions, obviously.
Okay, yes.
But there's a lot of supports in place for people. So, you know, you have to be realistic about it as well, but you have to keep trying. And if that's what you want to do with your life and that to be your full-time job, you're going to have to take the highs and lows as well.
If you can give advice to anyone who gets through any disease diagnosis, any kind of hassle that you go through, what the main keyword you would say? Maybe a few keywords you would say.
I would say, number one, if you think it's something, so if it's something in your body or you think something is wrong, don't put it off. Go to your doctor. Go to your GP. Just do not. The one thing I always think about is if I hadn't have gone, what would have happened? So I remember asking my GP, or my surgeon at the time, I said, if I hadn't have been in and if you hadn't have caught it when you did, he said to me, well, at some stage you would have been symptomatic. So you would have had maybe a seizure, or you would have had some slurred speech, or you would have had maybe something wrong down this side of your body, you know, something would have happened. So I always think about if I hadn't have gone and I had to put it off. And the reality is, if we weren't at home, I probably would have put it off. I probably would have said, I'm tired, I have a new baby, I'm fine. So number one, if you think something is wrong, or there's, you know, a little niggle in the back of your head, maybe I'll go to the GP, just do it, first and foremost. And the second thing, if you have a dream or you have a passion or something that you're going after, just do it. Because we don't get another round. This is one life, it's one go.
True.
You don't get another go. So I genuinely never wanted to regret not doing my own music. And I know if I hadn't have done this, I would have been like, when my time has come, I would have been like, why didn't I do it? Why didn't I do it? What was I afraid of? So they're my two big pieces of advice to anybody. Just, you don't get another go. Just go and do it.
Very valuable. If you talk about success, again, from your opinion, success, if you give definition of success, definition, what it can give you now, and definition that you was able to give before you start doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's a different
I'll go back to before. Success for me before all of this was, how many things can I get done in a day or in a week or in a month, or how many tasks can I do? I'm so amazing. I'm after doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm running here, there, and everywhere. And I've done so many different things. That was success. Now, success is what's making me happy. My family is healthy. My family is happy. My child is okay. My husband's okay. We have what we have. Am I being creative and making music that I love? Yes, that's success.
Brilliant. If you talk about the funny stories.
Yeah.
Do you have any to share? This happened.
I'm sure I have loads. I
come across, and the most funniest recently happened. So let's go this way.
Well, funny story actually from years and years and years ago. So when I was about 15, I was on a show called Michael Barrymore's My Kind of Music. And so I was in a stage school at the time, and in Liffey Valley Shopping Centre in Dublin, for any of the listeners out there, I was on a thing called My Kind of People. So it was basically where Michael Barrymore went out to all these shopping centres and people got up on the stage and sang. And I was like, I'm doing that. Got up on the stage, sang, and they invited me to go over to the show in London. And the show was like a game show, but I don't know if anybody remembers it, but me and my sister went on as like game show contestants. And it was all music related. And at the end of it, you as a contestant, me being the singer, got to sing. But we went over and like we were absolutely brutal. Like we knew none of the answers. We came last, but I got to sing on the show and I got to sing a Shania Twain number. And what was the name of it? That Don't Impress Me Much. And I remember that is one of my funniest stories, that I went over having done the shopping centre and then went over and sang on the show. I'm sure there's footage somewhere in the archives on YouTube somewhere.
If you get any feedbacks, how you deal with them? If you, for example, don't like feedback, it's a criticism of the thing for the June.
People, I've had comments online that people have said, like, don't like your song or whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, great, lovely, thanks. Doesn't bother me. I'm like, if you don't have to listen to it, you can turn it off, you can listen to something else. So look, it is hard, and especially, I think especially nowadays, like, because we're so like social media and the phone
kind of
is in your hand, we're dependent on it, and we're looking for gratification. And obviously, as a songwriter, like, you're not making music for no reason. You're making it so people will listen to it, and like you hope and pray that they're going to love it. So when people say, "Oh, I don't like it," I'm like, well, turn it off. Like, you don't have to listen to it. I'm not making you listen to it. Like, I will more look at the comments from people that are, that's incredible, I loved that, I play it all the time, that's amazing. Like, I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not. And
easy,
definitely,
of course, no.
Yeah, the generation that are coming up now, I think about my own daughter, and I think like they're going to be exposed to social media so much earlier than I would have been. And I worry about all of those things. But I think you just have to kind of take it with a pinch of salt if you can.
If you talk about another plans in your life, you don't have any plans?
What's next?
What's next, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be more music, number one. It's going to be, releasing as much as I can. I really want to grow my craft. Like, I'm still learning, and I'm going to continue to learn. I think you're always learning. I know that sounds probably cliche, but I work in that kind of area as well, in learning and development. And to me, you're always learning something. And then, as I said, my number one kind of plan for next year is I want to get myself out there more with the live side of me promoting my music. So what gigs am I going to do? How can I get some support acts? What does that look like? So that's kind of the next initial plan.
Do you collaborate with anybody else at the moment, or you just by yourself and basically promote yourself?
I've started collaborating with musicians now as well, and which has been amazing because that puts another kind of spin on your music. So I collaborate really, really well with my producer, Stuart. I go in, we could make a song within a day or two. It's actually incredible because we now know our style and it works. But now I need to kind of grow that a bit more and start collaborating with other musicians and developing. And so that's kind of the plan now. More networking, more collaboration, more really good tunes, please God.
We already talked about the quality of the singer of the songs, but also we didn't cover up how you can bring the balance in what you're creating. I'm explaining what I'm trying to ask you. People follow by trends. What is your trend from your point of view? How you follow this trend, or you build your own trend? From your how you can describe that? Because we talk about the quality, song, personality, but also we always like trendy stuff. How to build this kind of a quality to what you're doing and be trendy at the same time.
I think so. For me, it's definitely been a journey. So if I think about like the first song that I released, it was very much like I'm dipping my toe into this and don't really know what I'm doing. Second song had more of a meaning behind it for me because obviously it was about the journey and me obviously recovering from such a major life event. And then, so as it's gone on and I've been testing the water with social media as well and how can I actually get myself out there, what I've noticed is I've gotten better at the songwriting, better at the storytelling part of it. But I've also realised that in order to find my audience, I need to be really clear on my style of music. And I think I have a niche as in I would describe my music as pop rock. So I love a bit of rock. I love putting like really clear drums and like, guitar, electric guitar. That's the sound that I'm going for. And I would describe it as Lady Gaga meets Pink.
Yes, yeah.
That's the way I describe it. But I also think that my personality, I think people need to see what's behind it. So my journey has been, what do the songs sound like? What do I want them to sound like? But then what do I want people to know about me? And my story very much is, I've started this because I was basically given a second chance And my second chance now is to get my music out there, to continue learning what my style looks like. Kind of, you know, go outside the parameters a little bit, but stay within that lane because that's what I want to produce. But the biggest part is I'm trying to find my audience. I'm not making music for 15, 20-year-olds. I'm not. That's not
true, by the way, yes.
Yeah, so, well, let's be honest. I'm in my 40s now. I'm not making music for the 15 and 16-year-olds because that's not the genre that I think they're going to listen to. Now, if they listen to it, amazing, great. But I think I have more life experience now.
They can understand that.
So, yeah, and the music I'm making, I feel like would appeal more to people my age and above.
That's true.
But like, I don't know whether I'm answering your question fully, but I'm trying.
No,
it's like
did.
A journey, and I feel like I'm on it, and I'm going to continue being on it.
Yeah. So again, quality equal trend.
Yeah.
Trend, quality equal personality.
Yeah, true.
Could you say that?
Yeah.
But why I'm asking this question, because again, quality is one thing, but trend is a different thing. But again, when you put all together, it brings you to the different level and show you that you're unique.
Yeah. I think you can get very caught up in trends. So you can get very caught up with doing what everybody else is doing.
That is a part as well of...
Yeah, so I'm trying to not do that, but use some of it to my advantage, if that makes sense. So like, to me, the trend is obviously you need to be on TikTok, especially if you're making music, because that kind of is the place where you find new musicians. So that's a trend, as in get your music out on TikTok. That's what I've been doing. But now I'm doing it in such a way where I'm like, well, actually, I'm in my 40s and my music is not really for 15 and 16-year-olds. So I'm going to try and reach into that audience rather than trying to push it to everybody. That's
very good point.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing lately, and it seems to be getting more traction.
So to be unique, you need to find your own path and to
so.
show that you put the effort, quality, trends, what's now demanding, but at the same time, it's my way, how I deliver and what I represent and who I am behind all that.
And I think it takes time as well. So I've been, like, if I think about, like, I'm 4 years in now to actually releasing music. And I know 2022, but I was like...
But still, yes, I know
starting before then. But like, so, you know, it's only now that I'm starting to... Oh yeah, I really like that. I kind of have a better understanding of what I want to get when I go into a studio now as well. And I know what to ask for. But again, it goes back to the learning. You're just learning all the time.
If you needed to go for traveling with your band, with your music, where would you go first place?
If I needed to go travel?
For example, you decide, I need to go travel and I would like to bring my music, my brand,
I think I'd go to London.
Why London?
Because London is just such an eclectic mix of music lovers and different music genres, and there's a lot of opportunity, and I think I would go there. And I would see, like, I'd start doing if money was no object, I could literally just get on a plane tomorrow, I'd go over there and I would start, like, doing the circuits and seeing, you know, getting your name out there and stuff like that. So you never know.
London, because big city. But if you need to go, I don't know, okay, put it a different way. You're going for traveling. You decide, I'd like to see the world.
Yeah.
So if not London, where will we go? What kind of 3 countries or 3 places, towns maybe you was thinking behind in your mind? Just, I love to go there, but because I'm too busy. Yeah. So where we go, and would you feel comfortable from that point to bring your stuff, your music?
Oh yeah, I'd go to LA. I'd go to Dubai is another place that is Well, I mean, number one, great holiday, and great weather. But there's a lot of, like, Irish musicians that would go over to Dubai and do, like, gigs over there and stuff like that. So there's a bit of a scene over there. Obviously LA for obvious reasons, and New York. Because again, I mean, some of the greats have obviously made it over there. So if money was no object.
Think big.
Think big, exactly. Think big. Why not? Why not? And see what happens. Yeah.
Yes. Pamela, it was a wonderful conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Believe everybody learned lots of things out of you. And we inspired other people to believe in themselves and follow what they want, what they're feeling for them right. And don't afraid to be trendy, don't afraid to be unique. And remember that doesn't matter what you're doing, it has to be quality as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
But we're not finished yet, by the way. Okay. I have a funny part that I'm usually doing with my old guest, just for fun, make everybody laugh.
Go for it.
Or maybe
I'm ready.
Only for
I'm
us.
ready. Do it.
So I give you 5 names of their famous singers.
Okay.
And I give you 5 names of the animals.
Okay.
And you have to compare from your personal opinion, association, animal to the singer.
Okay.
Or singer to the animal.
To the animal. You never know. Okay.
Okay, I'll try to show the pictures to remind to you how they look like, to remind our audience.
Okay.
So the first one is Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
So the next one is Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan, yes. Okay.
Bob Dylan.
I love this.
Third one, Frank Sinatra.
Ah, classic.
It's him, yeah.
Oh, yes.
So, and Elton John.
Ah, again, amazing. Okay.
All very unique, very
yes.
trendy. Eddie Vedder.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Eddie Vedder. Correct Vedder, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
So, animals.
Okay.
Wild boar.
Okay.
Bear. Chimpanzee. Yak.
Okay.
Kangaroo.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let me think. So, bear, probably Elton John.
Elton John.
No idea why. Just came into my head. Who else do we have? Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley, Bob Dylan, Frank Sinatra, and Eddie Vedder.
I'd say, let me think now. The kangaroo is probably Bob. I don't know. It just, it's comes into my head.
That's fine.
Comes into my head. And Elvis.
All of them are so funny, to be honest. Not just one.
I just think, I just when I'd say the name, it comes into my head. Elvis, I'd say, give me the other.
So kangaroo and bear is gone. So the wild boar, chimpanzee, yak.
Wild boar. Because he's wild.
So wild.
He's a bit wild.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Yeah.
Yak. Probably the last one. What's
Eddie Vedder?
Yeah. No idea why. And that leaves chimpanzee for Frank
Sinatra.
See, if you didn't give me animals, I'd say Frank Sinatra is like, one of those classic cars.
We don't have a classic car yet.
If there was a classic car, I would say classic car. I love that.
Anyway,
that's brilliant.
So guys, it's not because you look like, it is because we have association with your name or what you're doing. Your personality, most important.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
It was fantastic to have you over.
It was brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching us. Stay with Tanya Corless and you will get more positive information. See you. Bye.